Hi, today I would like to talk about GitLab and HashiCorp Vault. I decided that I don't want to store logins and password inside a GitLab because there are two issues that I don't really like. So I'm going to present you how it looks like and you will be able to understand the whole idea. So this is my tutorial and I will go back in a moment to this because without this I will not be able to proceed because I do not remember everything. It's difficult to memorize everything. But before I will proceed, I will go to settings, CI/CD, and let's expand variables. And here you can see I'm storing something like Argo CD password, Argo CD username, and AWX password and AWX username, and also npm user and npm pass. But this is something that I'm going to present in a separate tutorial because npm pass and npm user it is connected with Nexus server where I store locally npm packages, and I'm downloading them from my local Nexus server instead from the internet. And this is a totally separate part because it requires more specific approach. But today I would like to talk about username for Argo CD and AWX and passwords. So the problem is that if you will try to mask it, so I will click the username here, and you would like to mask it, I will turn off my camera for a moment. You will see there is a problem that you need to, and I will just maybe okay, something like this. I will scroll down. The value must have at least 8 characters. So the problem is that if you want to store a username that is shorter, like in my case it's admin, just like that, you cannot mask it. You cannot mask username. This is the problem. And yes, you can create a longer username and store it here, but this is not the case. This is the problem number 1. And also, if you open something like Argo CD password, I will show you this one. This is for a tutorial purpose, and then I will of course change my password. But you can see I have some special symbols here, special characters, right? And if I would try to mask it, you will not be able to do this because this value cannot be masked because it contains the following characters, and it says exactly which characters are just special characters that you need to escape. Escaping is possible, but it's not very convenient approach. That is why I decided that I would use HashiCorp Vault besides GitLab chosen HashiCorp Vault as a default Vault operator, and also Google Cloud Platform, and if I remember correctly, Azure Vault. So Google Cloud Platform has a separate Vault, and you have 3 providers that have been chosen by GitLab Corporation, by GitLab company, right? By people who are behind GitLab. So fine. That is why I will use HashiCorp Vault. If they decided to choose it, then it should be supported pretty well, and that is why I want to present it, how to make it work and how to connect GitLab with HashiCorp Vault. Because thanks to this approach, you will not to have worry about shorter name, special characters in password. This is something that is, explainable, right? And this is something that is really convenient. You have a separate tool where you store all the logins and password, and this is the much more secure approach. So thanks to this, you don't waste your time. You don't have to make some extra effort just to make it work, just to work with logins and passwords. Besides, this approach is much more secure. And if you're wondering why, I will tell you. Just because if you have a vault, then you can decide who has an access to GitLab and who has an access to Vault. If the environment and employees are divided between specialists, so someone who is working as a tester, for example, doesn't have to know, in fact, login and password for the application, actually. You can store these values in a separate place where you have an access as an administrator, and yeah, much more secure approach. And even if something will be compromised in your GitLab, then your login and password for your application, website, etc. are safe because they are stored there and they are passed as variables instead of using a plain text. That is why. And in the log, if you will see then later, I will show you the log from the job, you will see that there is no information what kind of password or the login is in use, in fact. Okay, fantastic. So what we need to do, what is so important and what has to be done. The approach I decided to use is to have a vault on a separate virtual machine. And this is a virtual machine in my Proxmox environment. So I have this machine already up and running, so you will see I have it here. So what I'm going to do, I will just, copy and paste commands one by one. So basically you need to install GNU PG2, because then you are using a command gpg and you are just downloading the keyring, right, for HashiCorp. So what you need to do, you just need to click this icon to copy it and paste it directly to the terminal. So shift insert and try to execute it, and now it should execute. It should do all the jobs for you, and the HashiCorp Vault should be installed after that. And you can see it is in progress. Fantastic, so it's installing without any issues. Okay, so now you can see generating the key, and soft-signed certificate have been generated. But yeah, we will regenerate it anew. Why? Because there is one issue that I need to talk about. Why you need to reconfigure it? Just because you will receive then error when you will try to connect GitLab and HashiCorp. TLS failed to verify certificate X509, cannot validate certificate for this exact IP address. So the IP address of the virtual machine where the vault is installed. Why? Because it doesn't contain any IP sans. Means that the SSL certificate used by Vault doesn't include the IP information in the subject alternative name, SAN field, right? And that is why it is recommended to generate a correct SSL certificate with the appropriate SAN field. After performing these steps, Vault should correctly accept HTTPS connections and allow further configuration and initialization. Why? I don't want to use HTTP. I want to use HTTPS to connect GitLab with HashiCorp Vault, and I want to pass all the information using HTTPS. That is why. So what you need to do, you need to create a file, openssl.cnf. So just copy it and, well, clear the screen and vim something like this, openssl.cnf. Click insert on your keyboard and then switch back here and copy one more time this icon, and I will paste it into the file. And I will go back here and yeah, default bits SHA256, fantastic, everything is fine. And there is a something like CN, and in this field you use IP address of the machine where the HashiCorp Vault is installed, or instead, if you're using a domain like, I don't know, vault.example.com, you will have to put this domain here. And then, if you are using a domain in field CN, Then after the IP address, because this field is required and is something that has to be here, additionally you need to add something like, if I remember correctly, DNS and equals, and then provide the, for example, vault, and I will show you vault example.com, right? And instead of this, you're using something like, I will get rid of this. Yep. And vault example.com. So if you're using it, you have to use something like this. If I remember correctly, I don't remember is it a DNS or DNS.1. This is something that you can check in the internet. So I will undo these changes. Okay. Here we go. And I will leave it as it is. Now I will save it. So we have a file, and I can cut this openssl.cnf file, and you can see the content is there. So the next step is to use these commands. So one more time, copy paste, and we will proceed it this way. Here we go, list the content. Now we have a TLS CRT and TLS key. If you are working in the company and you want to use a self-signed certificate signed by your root CA certificate in your company, right? Then instead you have to create certificate signing request CSR file for this server, for this domain, vault.example.com, send it to the root CA signing center. They will create a certificate for you, and they will sign it with root CA certificate, and then they will send back to you the certificate that in fact will be a chain certificate. So it will contain at least root CA certificate and certificate for your domain, for your server, for Vault, or it can also additionally contain something like we can call intermediate certificate. So root CA, intermediate, and server domain key. The certificate, the key is separated. The key is stored on your server. So you need a key and you need a certificate. For self-signing, you're using this approach. And for company, for domain, generate CSR, send it, sign it, send back, and use it. I hope you explained it better in using some kind of tools like ChatGPT or looking for in Google. But this is the way we work. Self-signed or signed by root CA certificate. So we need a certificate, we need a key. Okay, fine. So the next step is to what? To move those certificates and owned by Vault user and Vault group. So one more time, copy it. But the problem is that here I need to use a sudo, no, Control C. I will add sudo later in the tutorial. So now I will copy it one by one. Sudo mv tls to this directory, and exactly sudo by the way, yeah, we can repeat this step, but I will use the key here. And here we go. And then sudo chown -r vault and vault, and what? opt vault tls and star, something like this. Okay, why this way? This way. Okay, fantastic. So now you can sudo lsla or lh and opt vault tls, just like that, to be sure that both are owned by Vault user and group. Fantastic. So permissions are set correctly. Now you need to configure the Vault. So you need to check the Vault configuration, Vault HCL file in etc Vault D. So I will just, by the way, switch to root. Just it is much more convenient. cd etc vault the directory and list the content. And here we have Vault HCL and ls lh, like that. Vault HCL and Vault env. And now what we need to do, we need to edit this file and check the configuration inside this file. So vim vault.hcl, here we go, and we have UI true, storage file is correct, then this one is commented out, this one is commented out also. Now we have TLS CRT keys correct, and what you need to do in this place, you can see I have something like this. I have a API address and cluster address. So control this, go back here, shift and insert, and just shift insert to paste the content into this. So you can see I'm using the IP address for API of my HashiCorp Vault machine and for cluster address, and there is a port 8200, 8201. Excellent. Okay, save and exit. Now host name dash capital I will show you the IP address that is assigned to this machine. So yeah, this is correct. All the rest is commented out, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, what you need to do, you need to copy this TLS CRT to a Vault CRT file, just for convenience, and then update CR certificate. And one more time, if you are working with user that has sudo privilege, sudo cp, assured just cp. That is why you need to remember about the contents. Okay, cp this one, and now there is a next command, update CR certificate. Here we go, or sudo update CR certificate, and updating rehash warnings, keeping it doesn't contain. Okay, but it's fine, it is working just like that. So you need to update it and it should do the job. So it is adding the Vault, the certificate, actually TLS.crt is a certificate generated for Vault. This is the certificate that we already regenerated, and we are adding it to the proper, let's call it trusted certificate store, right? This is the location, user local share CR certificate, and then we update it. Thanks this certificate is added to the trusted certificate store. This is the best approach. And after that, we need to create a vault.env file. By the way, default file vault.env is already created, but it is empty. It doesn't have any entry here. And I'm going to show you this one. So here we go. List and cut the vault.env. Here we go, it is empty. So vim vault.env and add this one entry to this file. Here we go, copy and go back here quickly like that and save it. Remember, it should contain only one line. So dd to get rid of the additional line. Fantastic. So this part is already done. After that, we need to create a systemd service file. So we will create a vault.service in etc systemd system directory. So exactly, copy the content from the website and put the content into the file that is already here, just like that. Shift insert, get rid of this additional line, dd, and control, and here we go, :x, save and exit. So the file is already created. Now we need to reload, because the systemd doesn't know that we have another one new service. So systemctl or sudo systemctl daemon reload like that. It is reloaded. So now systemctl enable the vault.service. Why? Because we want to start vault service during the boot process when the operating system is starting. Now we need to start the vault service, so we will just use systemctl start vault.service. And after that, we can go back here and we can check the status for the vault service, and it should be working. If there is a problem, probably it will show you the information, and you can see there's some kind of error. Loading TLS cert. That is really interesting. And you can do something like this with -L. And now, okay. So if you are curious, journal.ctl -u means show me the error, show me the journal from the service vault.service. And now it shows you error parsing listener configuration. And now stop at error parsing listener configuration. That is interesting. Failed to find certificate PM data in certificate. Okay, so probably there's a problem with the certificate. So if you see something like this, the best approach is to regenerate the key. So first of all, stop the systemctl, stop the vault, just like that. Stop it. Now go back here and regenerate the key. So first of all, do this, and I will go back to, I will cd home Adrian. Go, I will list the content and mv open SSL to root directory. cd like that, print working directory, list the content and put this like that. One more time, regenerate it. Then copy this one more time. Here we go. And list the content. Excellent. Now quickly move the one and the second properly. So the one is already moved, and now we need to move it to TLS key. Like that. Move it. There we go. cd open SSL vault TLS. List the content. And chown -r vault opt and then vault and TLS. One more time, check the permission, and then cp the TLS key, this one, TLS CRT to this location. Go, TLS CRT file to this location, update CR certificates. Okay, now it's working, it should be. So now we can systemctl start the vault service, and we can check the status. And now you can see starting event system. So there was a problem with the key generation, I suppose, and that was the problem. So we solved the problem. Sometimes if you will see this, you will have to regenerate the key just to be sure that it is working. And also we can use a journal ctl command -u and vault service to be sure that you can see started HashiCorp vault. And now the best idea is to restart just to be sure that it is working. Excellent. And one more time check the journal, and yeah, stop it, started working. So basically there is no problem at all. If you will go to the end, you can see it's working as expected. So all of it is working without any bigger issue. Excellent. So this part is already done. And now I will go back to the root. And now the next part. Okay, we have this env file done, the service is done, and now configure user and permission. If you are not sure, is it working, is it correctly created, I will tell you that it is. The user and group is created, but we can check. First of all, ID vault. Then additionally grep vault in etc pass w to be sure that the bin is set to false. Then you can select grep vault, but now in etc group. Here we go, the group vault exists. So all of it is existing, and you can skip this step, but I added it just in case. Then the best idea is to copy it and set permissions as it is, and that's it. So we will go back here and we will just put all of it like that, and we can clear the screen. This part is already done. Now we checked the service status. All of it is working as expected. And the best idea is to open HTTPS vault server IP address 8200. So we will try to open it like HTTPS 10.10. Yeah, this one. And advanced, and now accept the risk and continue. The vault will load, but we will skip this window for a moment. We don't care about it, but instead we want to focus on this. We need to initialize and unseal vault. So basically, first of all, what you need to do, and this is a very good idea, is to add export vault address to the bashrc, but you will have to modify it a little bit before you will do this. So before you will execute it, you need to change this line to the real IP address 10.10.0.150, and it goes to the bashrc and tile, and then the bash C. You can see it is added at the end, and now source the bashrc file, and this export is already just executed, right? Now we need to initialize the vault. So vault operator init, and after that it should initialize. Here we go. But what is here? We have unseal key 1 2 3 4 5 and initial token. So basically we need only this. Control Shift C, open some kind of editor. I will execute Kate. Here we go, and I will paste the content here. So I have this token and keys. Fantastic. I will clear the screen now, and now the next step is to unseal key. So we can copy this first line. We need actually 3, but I will use all the 5. So I will go back to Kate editor, this one here, and I will do something like this, and it tells exactly that unseal and the key, right? And the same situation here and here and here and here. And now I will do something like double ampersand. Remember about spaces. This is a time-consuming task, but not so very difficult. Why? Because I want to use this as a one-liner, right? So now I will just copy the whole one-liner here, and yeah. It is working. So all the keys are unsealed. Fantastic. I will take care about this error later. I will just copy this warning into my Kate here, and I will leave it as it is now. So there is something that you need to proceed. Then you need to vault login and root token. Yeah, so vault login and root token. So go back to Kate, and instead of this, do this vault login and the token, just like that. Highlight it, copy, and go back to the command line and vault login, and success, you're now authenticated. Excellent, this part is already done. Okay, so this was the crucial step. Now the vault is configured and we can work with it. So the next step is to configure the HashiCorp vault. So we need to create a policy file, GitLab policy HCL, and put the content there. So I will use this one, and one more time quickly. That. Then go back to the website and copy the content. Like that, go back here. Save the configuration. Go back here. And now we need to use this command. Go back here. Here we go. Uploaded GitLab policy. Yeah, that is fine. And what else? Now we need to vault secrets enabled, secret blah blah blah. And this is the part that we can execute, and I don't want to show you my passwords. Maybe for Argo CD I will show you one, but the second will not be presented. Okay, that is fine, because I presented only one password for the Argo CD, so I will use this Argo CD, but I will have to copy both like that, or maybe this one. Here I will go to Kate, and I will get rid of this one, and now I will make it bigger. So I want to use Argo CD login, and I will click this one, and now my Argo CD Control C, and this is something that I want to use like that. So I will put it this way, right? I hope you understand. Seems it didn't copy. Then copy the password one more time and go back here, and yeah. So yeah, now we just need to copy this one here and here. That's it. This is everything that you need to understand, and I will copy the second password exactly the same way as I did it here. Okay, so the password for Argo CD and AWX are copied and pasted. So I did it. Now we need to create access token for GitLab. So quickly copy paste. Here we go. Here the screen. Go back here. And now we need to define environment variables in CI/CD project settings, vault address and vault token. So yeah, we have to go back here and we have these variables here. And now what we can do, we can get rid of this Argo CD password because we will not need it anymore. Username and also the AWX password and AWX username. I will leave npm path because this is for Nexus and SSH private key because it is needed. And I will click here, add a variable button. And now I need something like vault address, right? So Control C, this is the variable. So I will turn off my camera one more time. And here we go. Now we can select it as a masked, and then we can provide a description, exactly the key, and the content is the proper address from the tutorial. So HTTPS vault server IP and then the port. So HTTPS like that, and then 10.10.0.150 and colon and 8200. This is the port number for the vault. And you can see we can see it is added, and now additionally you can edit it and you can select it. This is masked and this is a protect variable and export variable for reference. So this is it. So all those three need to be checked, and now all of it is working as expected. And the next step is exactly the same, but we need to add a vault token. So Control C, go back here quickly and scroll up, add a variable, select mask, leave those two as it is, key, and now we need a token. So go back to the Kate, and here is the what? This is the token. So copy the token. So Control C, Control V, add a variable, and you can see it is also masked. So if you will see, vault address and vault token, protected, masked, and expanded. Excellent. So this is something that is secure because it will not show in logs inside the pipeline in execution of the job in GitLab. So when you execute a pipeline and the job is running, there is no information in log what kind of login, what kind of password, what kind of vault address is in use, and what kind of vault token is in use. So you can restrict the access to this section. How? Well, I will try to explain it. I will try to maybe Control 0. So these settings are available. So all of it, the whole section settings is available only for an owner of the project, or eventually a maintainer of the project. So developers and other people who are in other groups, they do not see settings at all. So they do not have an access to general, CI/CD section, merge request, etc., etc. And also access token. So they do not see it and do not have an access, and they cannot control it, they cannot copy. So yeah, you basically restrict on the employees, the users, to only maybe 1 or 2 persons, maybe 3, you know, and only they know the vault token and the vault address. So one more time, security approach, very good approach. and fantastic. So this part is already done. So if you add vault token, vault address, environment variables in CI/CD project settings in GitLab, you do not need to declare them again in the GitLab CI YAML file. So this git.gitlab-ci.yml file, this YAML file, is a pipeline. It's a GitLab pipeline. So GitLab will automatically pass these variables to all jobs in the pipeline. Excellent. One more thing is very convenient, because we don't have to define it inside this pipeline. Now it is time to download SSL certificate from Vault. So first download the SSL certificate used by Vault, and you can read add Vault certificate in GitLab runner. So we need to log in via SSH to a GitLab runner. I explained in a previous tutorial what is GitLab runner. It is the same like a runner for Jenkins, and you add a separate node that is a runner, and you can run jobs on it. You don't use the main server with Jenkins, or in this case main server with the GitLab, but instead we are using the runners. Okay, so now I want to connect to the GitLab runner number 1 and GitLab runner number 2 because I will need it. Okay, so I have 2 runners connected to my GitLab, and now it is a time to just download the certificate. Then we will have to copy it to the trusted certificates location and update CL certificate. So okay, so we will try to copy this one like that, and then go back to the command line and do this on this machine. Excellent. List it, and you can see the Vault CRT is downloaded, and the same situation is here. Okay, and the Vault CRT is downloaded. Very good. Now it is time to copy this one line, sudo cp or sudo mv even, to the, doesn't matter which command you will use, mv or cp, to copy the file here, and okay. That, and the same situation we'll repeat here. Okay, and now it is a time to update, and with sudo, so I will copy this like that, and we'll go back here and updating and updating. I was doing it earlier, so 0 added. Normally it shows 1 added because I had to test it before I will show you how to do something, right? And I need to check if everything working. Okay, so yeah, basically this is it. And now there is a step check connection, and we need to check the connection from both runners. So I will use the first and then the second check, right? So I will use OpenSSL and then CURL. Okay, let's go back here. Here we go. Control C. So this one is working, and exactly the same here. It's working because we see the certificate, it's loaded. Clear the screen here, and now go back here and use the CURL command. Copy this. You can see I'm using the IP address for my vault like that. Here we go. System health is working, and one more time here. It's working, and very good idea is to sudo system to check the systemctl status and the vault service, and you can see everything is working. Very good. So that was the actually almost last step. The last step at the end is to configure the GitLab CI YAML. So basically what you need to do is just to copy all of it, and I will try to show you the difference. And let's go here to this project. Let's click on this pipeline, this .gitlab-ci.yml file. And what is the difference? And the difference is a little, very small actually. The first of all, here in APK add no cache open SSL. Additionally, you need a jQuery and URL. And here I will try to make it bigger, and you have something like APK add -- no -- cache open SSL. So this line is changing. And then additionally, because here you can see I'm using OpenSSL to get GitLab certificate, and then I'm copying to the certificate store and update your certificate. So additionally here I'm downloading the Vault certificate, and at the end I'm adding both for GitLab and for Vault. And the next thing that is additional, and it doesn't exist in this pipeline here yet, is this: export AWS credential from HashiCorp Vault. So these 3 lines and these 3 lines, and there's also an explanation: the npm user and npm path variables are not properly passed. I will try to refresh it and scroll down, and you can read that, yeah, they are not properly passed. And if you will do this to the Docker file, but this is something I already figured it out, and I will create a new separate tutorial, new separate lesson about this, and I will show you how we can achieve this goal. I mean, how to make it work that the login and password for Nexus server, for this, in my case, npm user and npm password, will be available for a Docker file. But this is something different. Now we are storing the login and password for Nexus inside the GitLab in CI/CD section. So yeah, what I need to do, I need just to copy all of it, go back here and scroll up, edit single file, get rid of all of this and paste the content like that, and then scroll down and commit changes. Now it should simple key at line 74 column 1, so probably there is an error on my website, and this is something that needs to be corrected. 74 okay, okay, because I was using a translator. So this one, and yeah, commit changed, and now the GitLab configuration is valid. So after that, it is good to check one simple thing, and if you will go back to the build section, and I will try to make it smaller, and build pipelines, and we'll click this one and we'll click the pipelines, and now you can see update, this one is running. So if we click this one, we can see what happens here, and if we will click on this number, it will show you something like this: build and AWX and Argo CD, and it is executed this way. So yeah, And one thing is good to check and modify a little bit. If we will go back to Tycoon, I will show you the older version had some kind of improvement. And we'll go back to history. And 1 minute ago, let's check this one and browse the file. At the end, you have something like this. So we will copy the whole step like that, and we'll go back to the Tyco, and now we will edit this file one more time. And why I'm doing it, I will try to explain it one by one. So I have two runners, and I would like to execute AWX on a runner number 1, so Docker 1, but I want to execute in parallel on a Docker number 2, but there is something like clean workspace, stage cleanup, and we have something like parallel matrix, Docker 1 and Docker 2. I exactly wanted to show you this one because this is a very crucial step. I will skip this part just because it is already there, but this part was already improved earlier. I am able to run this test in parallel. So if I will go back to my build and jobs, it should run in parallel, I hope. But now it will not, probably because it will have to rerun it without parallel, and it will run one after another. Okay, but basically you can see it is running and it's building up correctly. So the whole test is working, and this one is just waiting because if you run the test on the same Docker runner, on the same GitLab runner, with Docker in my case, it will run like that. But if you want to run it in parallel, it will do the job in parallel. So it will run Argo CD on a GitLab runner number 2 and AWX test on a GitLab runner number 1. But basically you can see it's passed, there is no problem at all, and we can see it is just building all the container, and it's able to log into Nexus here, and is connecting and downloading all the packages that are needed in this step. So fantastic approach, there is no problem at all. Everything is up and running, installing all the packages, performing the test, executed, passed, and you can see all the steps, logging to AWX are executed. There's no problem, just succeed. And let's go back to this one, and also this one will work. So there is no problem at all, and this is the way we can achieve our goal. So it is picking up login and password from HashiCorp Vault, and it is passing it to the pipeline, and it is using them in test. So I can just use these variables inside the test, and there's no issue at all, and I can execute it this way. Why the npm, the Nexus is different? I will show you this. This is something that is good to understand, because in Docker file I'm using args npm user and npm pass, only this here, and you can see inside the Docker container, because I'm using a Docker file to build a Docker container, I'm using a connection to Nexus. And to make it work, to be sure that it will be able to work, you need to configure properly the HashiCorp Vault, and then properly get npm user and npm pass from HashiCorp Vault and pass it to this Docker file as variables. And this is something that I will present in the future. This is an additional step, so you will have all of the needed password and login inside the HashiCorp vault, and you get rid of some kind of, how can I call it, a login and password that are maybe not crucial, but very important if you want to use a Nexus local server to get packages from it, and you don't want to share this login and password with anyone in the company or with people who have an owner or maintainer access to the project. And HashiCorp Vault is managed by a separate team that take care about the security in more serious way. And thanks this, you get rid of some kind of point of vulnerability from GitLab, and that is why HashiCorp Vault or another solutions like Azure Vault or Google Cloud Platform Vault are solutions that allows you to store your secrets safe, and you can use them. Okay, so let's go back to the build process, to the jobs, and you should see that the build and test Argo CD also correct. And if I will go back for a moment, here you can see it was building on Docker 1, Docker 1, Docker 1. So to clean all the workspace on Docker 1. And now let's go back to Tycho and let's check the project at all, this GitLab pipeline. And let's Control F Docker 2 and look for the Docker 2. There is no Docker 2 at all. So if we will edit a single file and we will look for tags, we have a tags number 1, and it is the Docker number 1 AWX, and then the tags number 2. We have a Docker, and this one I would like to execute on Docker 2, and then I have something like this clean workspace. Here we go, and this one is like that, so we can try to replace it this way, right? And we have a clean workspace, clean up, and now Docker 1 and Docker 2, they will be, so here is the matrix, and it will clean the workspace on our runner, GitLab runner number 1 and GitLab runner number 2. That is why I'm using in this place tags, but it's not called tags, but it's using matrix, and here I'm using a variable $runner inside a curly bracket, right? And yeah, that's it. So commit change now, and now we should see, and if we will look for tags one more time, we can see it here like this one. Yeah, Docker 1, Docker 2, fantastic. And yeah, you should change the command here, but it doesn't matter. So we can see it's running on a Docker 2. And now if you will go back to build and jobs, there we go. Come on, come on. You should see that the Argo CD and AWX test are running in parallel. So if you will go to pipelines here, and you will click on this running here, you can see both are up and running, right? So that it is done, right? This one is like that, and the second one is this one. Yeah, okay, and it shows in jobs section where exactly it is running on which runner, so we can see Docker 2, Docker 1. So they are running in parallel, and after that everything should be working as expected. And I assure you that the clean workspace will also work, and there will be no issue at all. You don't have to really use the GUI from Vault, because this is something that is not needed, right? So that's the way we can work. I hope you enjoyed this video, so thank you very much. Have a nice day or night. Take care. Bye bye.